Welcome to Think a Bit. I'm Joe King. And today's AMA was kind of boring. There wasn't that many people in there. There's so much like dead air, dead time, dead silence, I guess. But yeah, I really didn't even want to upload it because it wasn't really that entertaining. I didn't want to keep on talking and making it seem like the AMA was about me. I don't want to try to do that. I don't want to take away from everyone else. But that's why I just try to not talk so much during the AMA. But next week, I'm going to change it up and I'm going to talk the whole time. Not in Discord, but I'm going to have my mic muted in Discord and I'll just, while I'm recording, I'm just going to be talking, giving my analysis. But just to make it more entertaining, I think. But anyway, here's the AMA for today, July 20th. All right.
Is that something? I know you have the placeholder there that would essentially resolve the calendar issue in the first place, but just curious where you guys are at on that.
Well, the calendar itself is pretty buggy, and that's because of the way it was built, and that's being worked on. For the data, it's technically available to everybody who wants to do it through the API. I know it's crummy to say that. We just need to build in the integration with the feature. But right now, I'm looking at making it easier to add more super nodes. To be honest, would be the item we're looking into in this next round is improving the way supernodes are managed and added to make it easier for new supernodes to join the system
Oh, shit, bro.
so that it can
Okay.
grow.
It's
Yeah,
alright.
because we need, like, for example, supernodes more specific to regions because not every supernode is for an individual region. There's people that have asked us they can launch it, and companies that have asked us that they can launch supernodes, and we just need to make that possible for them.
And then my last question for you is uptime the last couple days. I saw in the Telegram chat people were mentioning they saw like numbers go down slightly. Me personally, I've seen that too. I haven't had a chance to dig into looking at the logs per each miner, but I was just wondering if that was a known issue or just a one-off.
There was some storage issue on the Matchx supernode that caused some downtime, but that's just, I mean, part of networking and fun stuff. So it's been fixed, and there's some maintenance that we're planning on Friday at 9 a.m. So we'll be down for probably 10 minutes, but we're building it in as maybe an hour for the Matchx supernode simply because the set expectations. And that's just to increase the storage on the supernode so that we can continue to expand because there's a lot of people joining it every day, and it's needs a bit of an update.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Where's Aaron at?
Oh, he's not in today.
Oh,
For the AMA, just me.
oh, all right.
Sorry to disappoint. I mean, come on.
Oh, man. Yeah, man, nobody's here.
It's all right. I
Yeah,
mean, it just means I can focus on some stuff, you know.
yeah.
But I'm cool. Like, you guys, we can chat if you want to chat.
Yeah.
Nice. Told everybody. How could you tell everybody that there's an AMA? Anyway. No, I sent out the update today on the dev.mxc.org. The documentation there. Sort of like a tech update on everything we've been doing over the last 2 weeks. So we've got a blog, the most recent tech update, and I kind of just outline what we've been doing. Mostly been focusing on device provisioning. Like that was supposed to go out more quickly, but we're trying to catch anything that could possibly affect this massive scaling of the system in the future before we actually deploy. And there were some issues in relationship with other services that it interacts with that caused some potential problems. And so we tested that and got those fixed before deploying. And that should be out today, actually. Let me double check. Um, Let me double check. All right, my colleague here. And so that's kind of cool. That'll be out. Developers who are familiar with the documentation and things like that will be able to test out device provisioning, but they'll have to ask us for a manufacturing ID for that. Um, And then I know that tech support doesn't always make everybody happy, but it's definitely made me happy over the last couple of weeks. So I gave a shout out to our tech support engineer Latifa, who's done great. Joined us in the middle of our minor health release. Uh, and then did a great job in providing support and has done quite a good job learning how to troubleshoot the miners and the LoRa and the connectivity, things like that. In fact, the documentation, if you go to docs, MT Pro Miner troubleshooting, there's now a troubleshooting guide on how to check your own logs on the miner. So if you're having like uptime issues and things like that, you can access your logs and it tells you what to look for to see what's causing the uptime issue if you're curious about that kind of stuff. And majority of the time it's a network connection loss. Other times it might be something else, but it allows you guys to look, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at my notes here. AMA questions. Jeff, you have to work smarter, not harder. That's one of my.
Oh, I do. I'm looking at hiring people to take my whole job away from me.
Yeah. And then
I'll just sit here and talk with you guys.
Yeah, are you familiar with Parkinson's law? Familiar with that?
Not at the moment, but I'm about to be.
Yeah, you should look it up. I think I was going to tell Aaron about that, but he's not here. Parkinson's law, but I guess like if there's like a project and you're working and your time to complete is like a month, I guess it's gonna take a month to complete. But if there's a stricter deadline, like a month of work to get done in a week, and your deadline's a week, you can get it done in a week. It's like a adage that I don't know, you'll make it take as long as the deadline is. So that's what that means, I think.
I mean that's in theory true. In the sense of if you force people to do it, then they have to get it done and things like that. But that also doesn't take into account the amount of time available and the quality, right?
No,
there's a great post on LinkedIn.
Right? You'll be like,
what?
Because you can't really mess around and do other things. If you have like a big project deadline coming, like you have to stay focused on that to get that done. Because if not, I mean, you definitely really focus on the task.
And every 2 weeks we have new deadlines. Yeah. That's just fact.
No,
like each developer has.
Guys or nothing. I just learned Parkinson's law, so I was wanting to bring it up.
All right. Yeah. No, it's all about. Hey, cool. Device provisioning is deployed. Fun. All right. It's all about like for planning on a tech team. Yes, I mean the Parkinson's. I agree and I disagree with Parkinson's law. If we're gonna just have a theoretical discussion on that, I think yes, it's important to set timelines and deadlines, but there's also the physical limitations of the individuals actually meeting those deadlines, right? So I can tell somebody have it done in 24 hours, for example. Not that I would, but I do actually sometimes say that. And then what you get back is what could be accomplished in 24 hours. And there's a YouTube. LinkedIn video that was going around a few months ago, actually, where an artist showed you like the difference between these timelines you get for different things. Like if you want, it depends on what you wanted also, but if you give them an hour, then they'll give you a sketch, like a bare bones, basic functionality sort of works, things like that. But if you give them like a day or 2 days, then you get something that's a bit more completed. And so at this stage of where we are in development and the amount of testing that we have to do to ensure that everything works properly and that nothing breaks and that everything's safe and secure, right? You wouldn't imagine the fun things we see in our logs about people trying to break into the system. And so it's just one of those things. You just got to be very thorough, and that thoroughness to ensure these items takes time. And a lot of the time, that's the part that takes the most time. Not necessarily building it, but making sure it's interacting properly with every other system and making sure it's secure.
Yeah.
Jeff, how's the BTC mining going? Any other issues?
Not that we've seen thus far, just what I've said last week. So I think the testing phase is almost done, and then, yeah, analysis, and then probably another testing phase, at some point. But definitely progress. Definitely progress.
And for the next round of like selecting folks, is there any way that they factor in like people who kind of contribute to the project versus like social media accounts, or I mean, I don't know what they used initially to get their data set, but so more people have an opportunity next round?
I mean, I'm not part, like, the selection is partially technical and partially about the person's interaction with the project, because obviously we want to involve those most like willing to participate and provide feedback and ongoing communication, that does play a role. So I'm sure that is something that does go into the selection process, and there's a reason all these things are asked in the application process, right? That's part of that reason.
You got Strava?
I did at one time.
So you don't map your rides. You don't map like how many miles you ride a day.
For me, let me tell you, how long does it take me to get to work?
If Jeff and Brock had a race, who would win? Very analytical. You'd
Uh,
My money's on Brock. All that stuff.
Oh, I just use the Apple Health thing
Oh,
because
okay.
it's on my watch and it makes my life easy. No, I ride. Now I gotta do miles. Great. You're in the States, right? Yeah. 10 miles a day.
10 miles.
Almost 12 actually.
Oh, okay.
So 6 miles to work and 6 miles back, roughly. You're just trying to find me on Strava so that you can figure out where I live, aren't you?
Nah.
I got it. I caught
on
on.
the other side of the world. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean drones and other stuff.
Yeah, I can still have pizzas delivered to your house. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I could use some food right now. I decided because I got this coffee shop downstairs from the office right now, and they started offering like a coffee subscription
Yeah.
where you pay a flat rate and you get unlimited coffee. So I decided, being the person that I am, that I get that. And then I love good marketing and I'm a fool for it. And so then they're like, oh, if you spend $5 more, you get this kind of a drink too. I was like, okay. So I ended up like being at a 40 euros a month subscription and I get whatever I want. And so I had lunch today. I had a latte, which was a bad idea. So I'm looking forward to getting some food after work today.
Yeah, I'm trying to cut back on my caffeine too. I think I drink too much coffee too. So I'm trying to cut back.
Yeah, I actually cut my caffeine out entirely until I got the subscription.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And now I'm like, I gotta make the money worthwhile, right?
Yeah.
Hey, kudos to Leishwan who just joined us. Welcome. It's our smallest AMA yet with our tightest supporters.
Yeah, where's
Gosh,
Tavern?
there's
at?
literally
Like,
nobody here today.
Where's Tavern?
I don't know. I mean, he does a lot of volunteer stuff. He's probably got a life too, you know.
Yeah, where was Tavern at? I think there must be some internal strife going on. I think he wants more recognition. He wants to be a member of the MXC team. And yeah, he just didn't send out the invites today. He's trying to show them how valuable he is.
Let me just type out an invite. I didn't do this because usually Tavern does.
Yeah.
But there, tag everybody. I'm always scared to tag everybody in the thing. I don't like annoying people.
Oh wow.
Hey, we got some more people. What's up, guys?
See, look at that.
It's pretty instantaneous. Maybe I should have done that like 15 minutes ago. Oh man. So far we've talked about biking routes, some questions about development, and I kind of gave an overview of the ongoing like development stuff we've been doing. For those of you that want an insight on what's been going on in tech over the last 2 weeks, you can go ahead and check out the blog post at dev.mxc.org. Go to the blog. I posted out something today which provides some cool insight on what we've been up to. Um, and also reminding everybody to join our betas. Betas are important. Betas are good. Betas are great. And it helps us catch these issues before you see them. Except if you're in the beta, you're going to see them, but then you're going to know there's going to be issues, right? Anyway, also some exciting news in 9 days. We have brand new QA team member joining us to help improve the QA process, which is pretty exciting because there have been some bugs, and I know there have been some bugs, so I apologize for that. And the improved QA will certainly improve that process. What else? Anybody's welcome to jump in and ask a question, by the way. I can start talking like Star Wars theories, Darth Bane. I don't know. Any questions? Don't be shy. All right. No questions. Like I'm happy. Like if there's no questions, it means everything's crystal clear. My documentation's been perfect. I seriously doubt that. But yeah, definitely. Questions. If you haven't checked it out, device provisioning has been rolled out. It is pretty cool. There's an FAQ in the dev.mxc.org, which kind of gives an outline of device provisioning. If you want to test out the device provisioning system, you got to send us an email so we can send you some codes. And that's outlined in my blog post that I gave you. Holy cow, so many people joining now. I really should start sending out these messages at the beginning of these conversations. All right. Any questions? Like, I can keep talking.
Who wants to meet Jeff in person?
Oh, crud. Thanks, Leishwan.
What I really wanted to say is, I'd love to meet you in person, Leishwan. But, you know, I didn't think that was appropriate at that time, at that juncture. But now it is. And that offer still does stand. I would love to meet you in person.
Look at that. No response. Nobody wants to meet me. Oh, it's so sad.
Oh, what was the question? What'd she say?
Nah, she asked who wants to meet me in person. I feel like she's trying to pawn me off now.
Oh, yeah.
Is it like one of those betting things where you like try to buy a day with Jeff?
It's so quiet here. I just raised some questions.
Mm-hmm.
It is quiet. Usually it's not quite this quiet, but
Yeah, have you seen Bitcoin? Bitcoin dropped under 30,000. That's pretty crazy, right?
Under 30,000.
Yeah.
I mean, Bitcoin goes up and down.
Yeah, it was holding. It was holding there for a while, but it finally, damn, it's in the 29s now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have this theory about all types of investments. You only lose when you sell, below when you bought it, and I don't know. That's just me. Whenever I invest in something, I always decide at what level I'd be happy with my return. You know,
Yeah.
and that's when I cash out. Because if you don't make that decision before you make the investment, you never cash out because you're always like, well, maybe it'll go up this much more. You know, and that kind of just holds you in there.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always like, okay, I decide what is my reasonable return for my investment, and that's about when I cash it out. I mean, some things I just leave, like because I'm curious what's going to happen with it. But with like human psychology and all that fun stuff, you end up just never selling it. Cool. It's got his speakers fixed. I'm so sorry. You have to listen to my voice now. Ah, so sad. I see Lazy Droid's been typing for a while, so I'm hoping to get some questions from Lazy Droid soon. It's really been.
We're also missing Brock. I wonder where Brock's at. I mean, wow, where's he?
He hasn't gotten on his bike yet.
Yeah.
No, I took a. Oh, did the news update come out today? Or yesterday?
Yeah, there was
Gosh,
a YouTube video yesterday. Yeah.
did they put the ending on there that I sent later on? Let's see. Let's check it out. Every time I go to YouTube, I hear my own voice. It's so crazy. They didn't use it. Oh, so sad. I got caught in the rain last week on Friday. I think it was Friday. Like I was riding my bike home and just started pouring rain in Berlin like crazy, and I was outside riding my bike. So I got thoroughly soaked. Like just properly soaked. And so while I was getting rained on and while I was riding my bike, I went ahead and pulled out my phone and recorded like the ending of the news update. Because I thought it'd be funny, but that didn't make it in, so unfortunately, maybe next time. But yeah, the audio was really bad too, so that's probably why I didn't make it in. Cool. See people joining, people leaving. Any questions? It is an Ask Me Anything, not a monologue, so please ask something. Otherwise, I keep monologuing, which can't possibly be
I
that
didn't have
entertaining
many
for you guys.
questions. I didn't have that many questions.
All right.
Jeff,
Claudia, what's
an
up?
overview of the device provisioning, maybe.
Overview of device provisioning.
Yeah.
Oh, I've learned that I'm not very good at describing device provisioning today, but I'll give it a try. Basically, in LoRa communication, devices are all kind of manufactured by different manufacturers, and the data is kind of provided in a different ways from that. So you kind of have to adapt everything per manufacturer and per device. And what we've done is our team has put together a great provisioning mechanism that basically places the responsibility of the manufacturer to make sure that their devices are compliant with our system. And so that when a user gets the device, instead of having to manually configure everything and like find the keys and the codes and put them in and then double check that it's working and all that fun and annoying stuff, you just scan a QR code. Right, just like the M2 Pro, where we simplified how to set up a LPWAN gateway, we've done the same thing with LPWAN devices in the sense of you just scan a QR code and it works. And this is going to come into play when you start seeing more devices coming out from Matchx. That is, there is stuff on the radar, including like AI cameras, which are pretty darn cool, by the way. And then some other devices that'll be more interesting for you guys, specifically. As those things come out, you'll come to really appreciate the device provisioning. So for you, if you're not really into LoRa, you're going to be like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's fast and turnkey. But for anybody who's configured a LoRa device in the past, and all the fun stuff that goes into that, they're going to be very, very happy. You're reducing like a 5-minute requirement to about 10 seconds. And that's if you really know what you're doing and are familiar with the device itself. Okay, we've got some more questions here from Lazy Droid. Thank you for typing it out. It's all right. Like, I'm okay with repeat questions during the AMA. There's always new people jumping in. Repeat questions are not the worst. Okay, uptime. So reselling the M2 Pro, we're not really like, there's no huge support on that right now. So the fuel thing is there to stay, and the fuel does stick with the M2 Pro. I know it's not a popular thing to say, but yeah, that's just one of those things. And yeah, I'm not going to disagree on the other point you put there. And then is Flutter a permanent thing? You're a native Android developer. I'm sorry. I'm a huge Flutter fan, right? And for those of you who don't know what Flutter is, it's a tool Google built so that you can build quote unquote native apps by using a same code base. So you could build a web app, you can build an iOS app or an Android app, and that's what we use for the Data Dash. The reason I like Flutter is that it takes into account most systems of a device, and you're able to develop an application with one code base. So instead of having to hire specific Android developers or specific iOS developers, and specific web app developers, right? Oh, so sad. You're able to have one group of developers, which then for me is useful when leading a development team, that I have developers who are able to work on each one of these applications. So I can have one development team that can then each the different members focusing on applications. But if people go on vacation or people get sick, I have a cross-functional team. With that, for those that are specific to native development, I'll give you some peace of mind. There are always applications out there that require native development that use specific libraries that are not available in Flutter. Right? That's important to realize. Like for iOS, there's this 3D touch thing. Flutter doesn't access that API. So things like that, great for native development. But when it comes to a generalistic application that just presents data from an API, it does not leverage the very specific features of a device, whether it's Android or iOS. A system like Flutter is great for that. Right. Cool. That's my spiel on Flutter. I'm a huge Flutter fan, even though I'm more of a React developer myself. All right, I see Golden Eel has joined us. Wise old man, welcome to the returning Andres Avella. Cool. I still see some new people here, so don't be shy. Feel free to ask questions. I'm pretty open. Somebody asked me about how long or rather, Dr. Joking asked me about how long my daily commute is on my bike. Sure. For those that weren't here for that, I ride about 12 miles a day, or what is that, 20 kilometers? Whatever. I'm not gonna do the math. So yeah, it's fun. If there aren't any more questions, I seriously will start monologuing, and that's not fun for anybody. Cool. I'm seeing somebody typing. Good.
You can
also
have
just
a question or suggestion or what do you call it? Comment in general about the DHX project.
Yo.
I've been following up like the issues and like PRs that are in GitHub, but they all seem to have like there's this like the title of the issue, but there's no description. Like the descriptions are links to internal Jira tickets for MXC or something. So I find that like very like
really,
even though it's open source, like it's hard for an outsider to contribute if the description of the issues are like reference Atlassian.net MMD 128 or something like that.
That should not be on the data highway repo. So I will work on that. You are very right to bring that forward. And that'll be fixed because data highway, like the internal project management shouldn't be included in the public issues.
Yeah, I mean, if you click on the links, it doesn't bring you. I mean, you have to log in.
Of course not. I mean, the Jira is very much the internal system, and the public system would be the issues here. So that's something that should be fixed.
Right.
All right. I see some comment on. See a comment on the shipping. I don't have details on shipping. Unfortunately, I'm not part of that team. But if you do send a message to orders@matchx.io, they will get back to you. And if they don't, send me a message, and I'll make sure they get back to you. Dun dun dun. No, I know there's some team members here from that team, so sorry. Yeah, but definitely send it orders at matchx.io, and they'll be able to give you some feedback on that. For the IP to join DHX Harbor, I need to get that from somebody, so I can't provide that right away. I think there's a bug being fixed right now related to adding additional validators on Harbor. So once that documentation is fixed up, I know the IP will be shared. Of course, if you had the IP, you could probably help solve the bug. So I'll have a conversation with the team, and they should be sharing that. It should be open knowledge. So wise old man, that's my item for you. All right, Lazy Droid. Oh, wait. Easy Company. Is it possible to get a boot node address for? Okay, that's the same thing. Yes, it's possible, and I'll get that set up for you. I just need to let the right people know that they should put it out, and it should be in the DHX documentation. So hopefully we'll see that showing up tomorrow with the DHX documentation. Other questions I can think of: DHX slot status in progress. There's some modifications we have to make the parachain code to make it possible for Kusama. It works on Rococo, but at the moment, we're focusing heavily on some of the DHX functionality. I know the parachain slots are important, but I really want to bring in key functionality to the DHX chain. And so it's kind of a trade-off. Do I build in the functionality that makes DHX what it should be? Right? Do we contribute in that way where we get the functionality there, where you have the governance in place and some of the other on-chain items that we want to put in there, or that should be put in there based on the white paper? Or do we go strictly to like making sure all the stuff for the parachain slot's perfect in there and ready for auction? So that is sort of that consideration. I know the auctions are going through, so I did incorporate some of that into the sprint, the parachain slot. So we should be seeing some improvements on that soon. DKP2 status in progress. DKP3, rumored. All right. More questions. I'm loving the questions. Like the group keeps growing and getting smaller. Bring in more questions. You can unmute your microphone and just talk with me too. Like I'm an open guy. Just ask my team. They're here too, some of them. All right.
Because it's always easier to listen.
It's easier to listen, but then I got to invent stuff to say. Like, anybody here familiar with bullet journaling? Like bullet journaling? Anybody got that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a huge bullet journaling fan. Whenever I feel like I'm losing track of things and need to get more organized, I start bullet journaling and I buy a brand new bullet journal. I start fresh because I'm always going to do it. Anyway, huge fan. Good way to stay on top of things.
Hey Jeff, can you hear me?
Barely, but I'll turn up my volume. Hopefully nobody else like blares in my ears. Go for it.
Oh, sorry, maybe because I'm talking with my phone. I'm just curious, how many people are working in tech for MXC?
All right, MXC specific. Overall, the team is just under 15 people.
Okay. And there's only one headquarters in Berlin, or do you have any other offices?
We're located in Berlin. We do have some team members not currently in Berlin, but they are moving to Berlin, right? We try to keep the team in Berlin. There are
Do you know if there is like a specific like reason behind like Berlin? Why did you choose this city?
It's a beautiful city, man. There's a lot of blockchain projects going on in Berlin right now, and so there's a lot of good collaboration you can get internally in the city and a lot of events, which we were part of before the Corona lockdown. So with that means there's a lot of blockchain developers that migrate to Berlin as well, specifically for that purpose, and it's been quite helpful, especially when recruiting.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff.
Yeah. Lazy Droid, we will send, with DKP2 information, we'll send more of that in an update, like a post in the future, right? I want to make sure it's all brought in and itemized and all the fun stuff. But I discussed some of the items last week, I think, but I don't have my notes in front of me on that at the moment, so I'm not going to pull those up and discuss them again. But there will be a detailed report on this and information. And I'm saying rumored DKP3. There isn't actually a current plan to have DKP3. I could just see that there could be one based on what I know so far and what we want to be testing. So don't take that as like a promise of DKP3. It's more along the lines of there might be one. Quote unquote rumor. Cool. Let's see some more questions.
Yeah, I do have another one.
Go for it.
What are the next big like steps for MXC? Like, are you guys going to take like maybe holidays in August and then you're going to come back in September and tell us some exciting news? Or
I mean, there's been some holidays going on right now. Like I've had team members out last week. I have team members out next week. It's an ongoing thing, but I try to rotate out so we can continue building at all times. With that, I know everybody's always into let's get more features and let's get more new stuff, and they want to hear new news and new news. If you look at our white paper, right, the original white paper, there's still a lot of stuff in that timeline that has yet to be built. And so, with that, though, it's always fun to think of the newest, coolest thing. A lot of stuff is get back down to the basics and finish the project. Um, but for the next development round, what we're doing right now is we're making it easier for more supernodes to join the system. Right now, it's quite complex to add a new supernode, and it doesn't need to be that complicated. So there's a huge focus going in on simplifying the process so that we can also increase the number of supernodes on the system, which is good for, I think, everybody involved. And that's currently what's being worked on primarily. If you're in the iOS or Android beta groups, you'll know that dark mode has risen. Um, Basically, we've been working on that on the front end team, and there's some bugs with it. I mean, so that you guys are aware, dark mode is
Was
really
it released?
cool.
No, not yet, no?
It's
The dark
on
mode.
beta, so join the
Oh, it's
beta.
on it. Okay.
Join beta. As many people in beta as I
Can
can get, the more testers I
can I
have,
still
and the more stable we get.
can
I
I still
love it.
download the beta application or not? Because I'm in the beta group, you know, like on the in Discord. Yeah, I didn't check it for a while. Is
Yeah,
there
you
still
should
like
you should have access. Unless you
oh, okay,
provided an email address if you're Android that is not currently attached to Google, right? In that
okay,
sense, it wouldn't be working.
okay, perfect.
Um, yeah. So the dark mode's in beta right now. And just so you guys know why it's not coming out immediately, is because dark mode required changes in over 200 files
Oh,
in the code, right?
I thought you just had
Um,
to turn everything black. I mean, just turn it black.
I mean, it sounds like that, but no.
Yeah, easy.
Um, that's the thing. It's always like, oh, it's so easy. It's just one quick fix, and it's never one quick
Yeah, you just
fix.
gotta change the background.
Yeah. So it changes in over 200 files, a whole theme update to make it so it switches back and forth. And there are issues. You can see that sometimes in light mode you see dark mode colors, and sometimes in dark mode you see light mode colors, and it's kind of a mess in that sense. But those of you in the beta, it's been very helpful for your feedback. Thank you. We are going through those bugs in this sprint, and it's going to be fixed. Dun
Yeah,
dun dun.
I think Lazy Droid should create a whole bunch of themes, like a whole bunch like dark mode and like with a beach behind it, and what else?
Well, it's actually quite much easier now. Now that we've got the color themes in place, we could theoretically create different color schemes that would be easier to do. Um, yeah. See, Lazy Droid knows how hard this stuff is. I appreciate when community members come out and like, this stuff's hard. Give them time. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
You know
Um,
how easy it is to change like my computer's background? That's kind of
um,
you just gotta go to personalize, I think, and then
Zero,
select
cool.
the picture.
Zero cool. I open up a support in the new system. Either sending an email to support at matchx.io or support at mxc.io .org. Yeah. And to follow up on that, like items on that. I thought that was resolved already, but if it's not resolved, definitely follow up on it. It should have been resolved. Anyway, so sorry about that. Cool. Yeah, dark mode's pretty cool. Like if you want to see it early, join the betas. Yeah, the commands are in a pinned message in the general chat. Search through the pinned messages, you'll see what command to type in to join a beta, and then you'll have access to dark mode early. But keep in mind every beta does have bugs. I mean, even the stable has bugs, but beta has more bugs. So keep in mind that when you join beta, you're agreeing to the fact that nothing's perfect and it's kind of in progress.
Yeah, I see some bug yesterday. People were saying in the chat they couldn't log in or something. You seen
That was a server bug,
Oh.
and that's been resolved. Oh, what kind of bugs? Well, like, for example, in some screens for dark mode, there's still text in color that is not correct, so you can't read the text. Like, there was a bug, it's been fixed now, where on the DHX calendar, it was using the dark mode coloring, so white on the light mode theme, which had a white background. So everybody thought that there wasn't any DHX history there when it was there, but you just couldn't see it because the color was wrong. And just things like that, because like I said, it's over 200 files that have been modified to create dark mode, and it's definitely important to recognize the complexity of that. And we're like, the more people provide feedback and work on that, the better. By the way, Andrea, when your camera's running, only 25 people can join the chat, just so you know. You might want to turn your camera off.
Yeah, well, like, why do they call it bugs, you think?
Because you can squash them.
Or maybe because it's bugging you because it's not working right. That's what I'm thinking. Like, oh,
There's
man.
that too. I like the squashing idea.
Yeah. But that,
So it makes me sound like a terrible person. I just squash bugs. No, I do it for a living, guys. You know, development. Squash them bugs. Cool. I mean, it's all quite exciting stuff. What else did I write about in my tech update? Let's review my tech update. Maybe I can give you guys more information based on that. By the way, again, dev.mxc.org.
What do you think some good sensors would be for like the M2 Pro? Like what kind of sensors should you guys should be creating to use with it?
What I would like to do, I mean, a lot of sensors work with it. Naturally, we're going to be focusing on sensors with that use our device provisioning standard because it is more secure. And the reason that is that in the average LoRa device, the encryption keys are shared between the person that designs it, or the company that designs it, and the factory that creates it, which means more and more people have those encryption keys. So what we've done is we've made it possible for that not to be shared with anybody but you and us, essentially. By us being the manufacturer of Matchx, not MXC. So that it's basically more secure. There's only two parties involved that have that information and not like every party along in the manufacturing process. So it's really cool in that sense. The device provisioning, I'm quite excited about it. I don't know how it got on that, but I have another question here. Can we get more juicy details on Edge AI camera? Is it being tested, used by enterprises? Okay, so the initial Edge AI dev kit has been out for a long time, and that has definitely been tested and used in enterprise cases. There's one cool use test where it's counting cigarette butts on the ground to be able to calculate maintenance costs, like how much it's costing to clean it, and how the cost smoking is causing the city, for example. I think there's new taxes being integrated because of that. Anyway, so that was one cool and exciting thing that was done. For the new Edge AI camera, it's still in progress, right? And it's very much in its early stages to the point where we're still working on drivers of embedded software on the board itself and working out issues with that. With that said, everything that's brought out in the future, I want to be turnkey, right? Super easy. You scan a QR code and it works. Select the AI you want to have on it and it works, right? That's the goal. Then things like this take time. Like it's not being done by many people or if anybody, and making it flawless user experience so that you don't have to have any technical knowledge to set it up, that requires some thinking. So I do hope to have some prototypes done early next year for testing, and especially for testing with some of the enterprise customers that we've been talking with. But I wouldn't see it going mainstream maybe quite as quickly. That said, I do want to create, it's like I've had a lot of AI ideas on what we could do with Edge AI, and it's kind of cool. And I want to find like use cases for the Edge AI camera that would be useful for like you guys even. Like I have a garden, right? And I'm always interested to know what's going on with the garden because I live like 2 hours away from my garden. Don't ask me why I did that. And so it'd be cool to have like an AI camera that's telling me when pests are getting into my garden or things like that. And it'd be possible. We just got to build it. But when it comes to other devices, like there was the question, like what devices are cool. If I ever have time to do this, or maybe I'll have to hire somebody to do it, I wanna put together like a hack your tech channel, sort of. Like where you get like a Raspberry Pi and you get a LoRa board to put on the Raspberry Pi, and you like build a weather station with LoRa and a Raspberry Pi and things like that.
Yeah. Could you like make a
I think it'd be kind of fun.
sensor? Could you like make a sensor to let me know if I left my stove on?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll be wondering, did I leave the stove on? You ever wonder that?
I mean, the Edge AI camera could technically do that if it's trained to, because it could detect heat, or it could detect whether or not the switches are turned.
Yeah.
Right? So that would work for that. It can detect anything. It's AI. Once it's trained. It takes a lot of work to train an AI.
What kind of is that camera infrared?
It can be. It depends on the application. The camera lens itself can be modified.
Can that
So,
camera
like-
detect if someone like has like weapons on them or something?
Ooh. Probably not. I mean, I could say in theory anything's possible, but I wouldn't see that as an application we'd be building out.
Yeah, no, I just want to know if people like have like weapons on them coming into my house, you know.
Oh man, what are you into? Like I don't know. In theory, could be trained to find like things that could be, but the only way to know for sure wouldn't be through a solution like that. It'd be to do a pat down or metal detector.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of stuff the AI thing could do.
Well, it's very much any like there's parking lot management, knowing whether spaces are full or empty. Currently, in the most models, they have a sensor in each parking lot space, which takes a lot of time to install, configure, and money to buy.
What about
where
like
you could have
like you put like a sensor in a public pool so you knew it was like safe to go swimming if it was like it was safe to go swimming in there.
pH? You mean like the pH level?
Or or
Yeah.
or something like that. Like I don't know pH, I don't know what it is, but just make sure it ain't like dirty or nothing in there.
Yeah, I mean there's sensors that could measure whether or not the chlorine levels are proper.
Yeah.
That'd be possible. But again, there's a lot of possibilities and limited time to build them. So key is to work with additional manufacturers who develop these technologies to get them on board with the device provisioning that we're doing. And then we're focusing on some very specific items on the Matchx side, like the Edge AI camera, and another item that's pretty exciting that'll help you guys potentially measure out your networks a bit more. Cool stuff that might happen. And so that's really cool. I'm quite excited about that. But we have, for our hardware team, is quite small. For Matchx's hardware team, that is. And so it takes some time to develop these things. And we're looking, if you know hardware developers that are looking for a fun job related to blockchain, there are some positions open for hardware developers and embedded software engineers for Matchx. Oh, and if you know people in tech support, right, that are pretty technical, can navigate an SQL database and things like that, have them get into contact with me because I'm looking for some more tech support agents. Cool. We're at 5:48. I gotta say, this is one of the slower AMAs we've done so far. I probably should start promoting it a bit more than I have in the past if we want to get more people involved. That said, I kind of don't want to promote it because I want to keep it small enough so that's manageable. What do you guys think? What should I do here?
Yeah, maybe in your next video, YouTube video that comes out, maybe promote it in that. Like,
all right.
Throw it in there.
All right, take note, colleague who writes video scripts. Anyway, there's a lot of people from the team in here, which is kind of fun to see.
Yeah, but Aaron's
They're all
not
like,
in here.
"What's Jeff saying? What's Jeff saying today to the public? Got to figure it out." Oh gosh. Win MXE Moon. Well, the only way to guarantee an MXE Moon is if somebody flies up to the moon and like puts MXE flag on it.
That'd be pretty hard.
Empty bro on the moon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it would definitely be hard. Go Rocket Man. Omega Connection XD, fun. Cool. I mean, if there's no more questions, that's cool. We're coming down towards the end anyway. But if you have more questions, this is your chance. I only do this once a week, and I might end up doing it bi-weekly moving forward just because the groups are getting smaller and smaller. But if you have questions, now's your chance. Ooh, I can look at the help channel. What's in the help channel? Ticket update. Continue in DM. Ticket update. Okay, never mind. The help channel has gotten full of ticket updates. Empty Pro channel. Okay. And then I got some other messages coming in. Maybe somebody's saying something. Not related. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Like, coming towards the end. Want to make sure everybody's involved. If you've never talked during one of these things, don't be worried. Every question's a good question. Doesn't matter if it's been asked before. It's new for you, so keep that in mind. I don't get upset with repeat questions during AMAs.
Hey Jeff, I got a question.
Good.
I just signed up for to be part of the beta testing.
Nice.
And this is my first time with using that test flight app.
Okay.
So when I update to the beta version of the Data Dash app, is that just like another update that would typically come, for the standard user? The only reason I ask is because I got that little warning saying, make sure you're not going to lose any data.
With the application, you're not going to lose data because we test them before it goes to beta, right?
Yeah.
Beta is more likely going to be user experience bugs and display issues. With the data dash itself, it functions as a client to the server, and so all it's doing is acting as an interaction between you and the server where all the data is held. So anything that would lose data would be done on the server itself, and those are very thoroughly tested.
Okay.
So the client itself isn't going to have the ability to lose your data.
So I'm not going to have to like re-enter my phrase, my security phrase to log back in or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay.
You won't have to log back in. It usually functions just like the same update as that. If you were to close everything out and delete the app and then update it or install it, then you'd have to log back in. But the backup codes for your 2FA are only relevant to your withdrawal of MXC, and it's not relevant to your logging into the application.
Okay.
So you'll be perfectly fine on that.
All right.
Yeah, and welcome to the beta. Like, welcome to the beta.
Thanks.
Super cool. I love it when people join beta because it really helps us out. Like, definitely submit anything you think could be an improvement. I've got UX designers who look over these suggestions, and I've got team members who look at the bug reports, and I look at them myself. And sometimes it's like, okay, maybe we can't do that, but usually it's like, okay, that's a great idea. We could integrate something like that. So make sure you provide suggestions, provide feedback. Anything you think is out of the ordinary and should be done better, do that.
All right, sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I'm playing with one of the MXC fidget spinners right now, if you hear that clicking in the background. Anyway. All right. If there are no more questions...
Yeah, I gotta go cut my grass.
So do I, but it's 2.5 hours away. Oh, gosh.
All right.
All right, later, man.
So, in conclusion, what did we learn today? I mean, I think Tavern got mad at Jeff or MXC. He didn't show up to the AMA. He didn't send out the alerts. I think he wants more responsibility or more recognition or something. And what else? Oh, yeah, there was a part in there where Jeff said he got really sad that no one showed up to the AMA. He was telling his team, the MXC team, oh, come join the AMA. And finally, they all joined, and it's nothing but them in there. No one else showed up. So he was like, man, screw this. I'm about to start doing bi-weekly AMAs. And that's fine. If you want to do bi-weekly AMAs, that's fine. And I hope he does do that. I hope he starts doing bi-weekly AMAs. And then the weeks he does not do the AMAs at 11 o'clock, I'm going to join in to the MXC voice channel at 11 or 11 Eastern, and I'll host the AMA myself. And we'll hold our own AMA. And that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day.